Sorry I haven't read for a few days. I've been sick with a cold and a cough and everything. Anyways, interesting. I just realized that I had this letter from him. I'm going to have to find the other one that I got, which was Servants and Missionaries. Anyways, and this is a signed edition. Okay. Anyways, now, no comments. I don't know how to figure out how to say his name, but I want to say Genesius or Genesius. So there you go. Whatever one I say is going to be wrong. So, my wife and I were at a retreat, gathering together with a group of cancer survivors, playing one of those get-to-know-each-other games. A pile of index cards lay on the floor, each one having some in-depth questions to answer. It was my turn. I picked up the card, and the question was this: what in your life would you most like to let go of if you could? I immediately made a joke. This card, and I dropped it on the floor. Everybody chuckled a little. But I got a look of anticipation from the facilitator, so my mind began to quickly swirl. I blurted out the first thing that came to my mind. I wish that I could let go of the desire to want to control my kids. I elaborated by telling the group that I see the path that my children are taking. It was the same path that I took, and I know where it ends. I want them to make a detour and bypass all the regrets and mistakes that I made. I want to make them do what I know is best for them. I wish I could just let go of that. The group got a little silent in somewhat of an agreement. After the discussion, my wife and I were talking to the facilitator, and I said, when God changed my life, it was like a lightning strike. No rhyme, no reason to it. It was not predictable. It just happened seemingly out of nowhere. I don't want to depend on lightning strikes to get my children's attention. I believe this moment in my life captures the frustration that every parent must feel from time to time. Even more so, the Christian parent. We want our descendants to know the same God that we do, in the same powerful way that we have come to know him. But we don't want to have to depend on lightning. Lightning is unpredictable. It is unexpected. It is uncontrollable. What I had to come to grips with was this truth. Yes, lightning is all that. It is unpredictable, unexpected, uncontrollable. It is also dangerous, powerful, instantaneous. But lightning does lay in the hands of God. He directs lightning as it pleases him. He also breaks into the lives of individuals when and where he will. He proved that in my life, confronting me on a late-night drive in the middle of my college years, and as he has done in countless lives since. In AD 303, God confronted a most vile and blasphemous young man who had strayed far from the instruction of family, and he did so at not a more inconvenient moment. The persecutions of Christians had reached a fevered pitch during the reign of Roman Emperor Diocletian. Although Christianity had been the focus of oppression in general since its interception, Emperor Diocletian, who was committed to the traditional Roman pantheon of gods, declared state-sanctioned persecution of Christians. On the 23rd of February, AD 303, he ordered that newly built church at Nicomedia be wholly destroyed. He demanded that its scripture be burned and all its assets seized and added to the national treasury. On the very next day, Diocletian's first edict against the Christians was published It ordered that the destruction of Christian scriptures in all places of worship across the empire, and also prohibited Christians from assembling for worship. Christians were haunted like wild animals, hunted all over the realm. Once captured and unwilling to renounce their allegiance to Jesus Christ, they would subject to any number of tortures. They would be scourged until flesh would rip from their bones. Then, to magnify the pain, the wounds were rubbed with salt and vinegar. Others were placed on racks and pulled until their bones were ripped out of joint. Some were fed to the lions as entrainment at sporting... Oh, it says entrainment instead of entertainment. At sporting events. Over 20,000 Christians were estimated to have died during Diocletian's reign of terror. Emperor Diocletian demanded that every soldier in the entire Roman army perform a sacrifice to the gods or face discharge. One prominent story of the Diocletian persecution was that of a Roman soldier named George, who loudly renounced the emperor's edict and in front of his fellow soldiers declared himself to be a Christian by vowing his worship only to Jesus Christ. Diocletian attempted to bribe George to renounce his faith. He offered him lands, wealth. He would not make one sacrifice to the gods of Rome. George adamantly refused and was subjected to the cruelest of torture that ended in his decapitation. Needless to say, society as a whole viewed Christianity with disdain. As in the early days of Christian persecution by Nero, Christians were blamed for any disasters or destructions that took place. Twice in the reign of Emperor Diocletian, the imperial palace was burned. Each time Christians were accused of a conspiracy to kill the emperor. Following a lead of the emperor, culture itself was permeated with anti-Christian sentiment. Reminds me of how the Jews were lied about. They said they weren't even human. People believed it. Genesius, of Rome, that's how I'm going to say his name, was one of those who looked to profit from this anti-Christian bias. He was a gifted actor, comedian, playwright, and the leader of a troupe of actors of Rome. In the summer of AD 303, Emperor Diocletian was set to make a rare visit to Rome to celebrate the 20th anniversary of his reign as Caesar. Numerous civic and cultural events were being organized to commemorate his visit. Knowing of Diocletian's disdain for Christianity, Genesius decided to write a comedy, a play mocking Christianity. There is some speculation that he hoped to gain favor with the emperor through the excess of his mockery of Christians and be granted some sort of appointed position in his court. Although he had some knowledge of the Christian faith because some of his own family, most likely his mother and father, had been converted to Christ, Genesius has repudiated its teaching long ago. He needed to know more of this hated religion. To research his play, he approached members of the underground church in Rome as if he were a new convert. He was able to convince Christian leaders that he was earnest in his belief and wanted to know more of the Christian faith and be baptized. He went through a period of instruction, keenly interested in the subject of baptism and its picture of the washing away of sins, which it doesn't. Baptism was always after salvation. Anyways, okay. Roman culture had a love for water and bathing, which would be captivating to an audience. Genesius kept up the charade until he was satisfied that he had enough information to devise his theatrical production, and then he abandoned his Christian teacher.